So how do you find the right person for the right role? In fact, how do you find and hire the right person for the right role? It can elude a lot of us. Hey, it's Scott Beebe with Business on Purpose, and we're delighted to be able to be here with you on a really special day for us. This is quite a monumental week for us, actually, for a couple of different reasons. Number one, today our team welcomes a new team member, so a new coach in the Business on Purpose family. And then tomorrow is the 6-year anniversary of our business. That's right. In March, I believe it was 2nd, 2015 is when we launched Business on Purpose. To give you some context, we spend our days liberating business owners from chaos. It's what we do. It's our mission, so that you can make time for what matters most. And we do that with powerful business coaching that helps business owners and key leaders build systems, process, and purpose using the Business on Purpose roadmap, and then graduating onto the Business on Purpose compass. So why is hiring such a big deal for us? Well, business coaching is a nuanced thing, and it requires a unique skill set that requires intuition, and it's hard to replicate. And so that's why we're just a team of 4 coaches instead of 40 coaches at this stage of the game. So the question then we ask is, how do we find and hire the right person for the right job? So what I'm about to share is simply the play that we've called when the game situation calls for bringing a new team member in. There are many ways to go forward on this, but this is ours. So we'll do well to remember that hiring and leading a team, it's not the equivalent to a primary care nurse checking vitals prior to a visit with a physician. That's important. Of course, vitals are a part of it. Prior skill set, past employment, complementary personality. Hiring should be thoughtfully intrusive. I'm going to say it again. Hiring should be thoughtfully intrusive and investigative. Not in a mean-spirited way, certainly. Not in a weird CSI television kind of way, but in a thoughtful, well-processed, well-intentioned, goal-focused direction. Hiring an employee is more metaphorically aligned with, say, marriage than it is with dating. We're not inviting someone to a job. We're actually inviting them to a mission, a calling, and we need their help to get there. That's why we're inviting them in. So an inhuman way of hiring is how most hiring is achieved. We check for a pulse. We make sure they're not too bizarre for what you're comfortable with, and we see when they can start and send over the paperwork. But a human way of hiring is slowing the process down. Not starting at the minimum requirements, experience, degrees, certificates, but instead walking them through a mission and the role with check-in along the way. So we have 8 steps that we thoughtfully walk a new team member through over an extended period of time in order to both make sure we're aligned with that person and they're aligned with us. So I just thought I would show you our spreadsheet and what we do so you can see the inside of what it looks like to find and to hire the person. So step number 1 that we walk through is what we call pre-recruiting. You can see it right there. Step number 1, pre-recruiting, and we've got 5 elements of that. So before we ever reach out to somebody, this is before we ever find a person, we're checking off 5 pre-recruiting items. Number 1, defining the gap. What is that gap in the business for which we need to bring in another team member to fill? So we got to go through and check that box. Second box is defining the role. What role do we need that person to play in order to fill the gap? Third, define a budget. What compensation will be appropriate for this role based on the revenue that will either be generated or supported because that role exists? Number 4, we look around for internal candidates. Larger businesses should look around internally to see if there are any homegrown candidates for the role. And then number 5 in the pre-recruiting stage is sharing that opportunity. You can see we misspelled it there, but sharing the opportunity with key stakeholders prior to traditional posting of your new role. By the way, this is a good time. If you're listening to us on the Business on Purpose podcast, we also have the My Business on Purpose YouTube channel. So you can go check out there, and I'm actually showing our hiring process right now, right there. Step 2 is finding and hiring the right person for the right role is an initial phone or Zoom interview. I actually like doing this not in person. It's an intentionally distant way of simply reading the situation by asking general questions of background, experience, desire, motivation. So we want to have that phone discussion. You can see we actually have those things there we're looking through, and then we're evaluating the phone discussion based on those pre-recruiting items. So that's step number 2. Then we get into step number 3. This is the first in-person interview, if applicable to your location. Some people are virtual, and that doesn't make sense for them to be in person, but it's going to need to be an extended Zoom interview, and you at least need to be face-to-face via Zoom. So we do not share anything about role specifics or compensation during this interview. Very important to understand. Before you get married, your biggest questions are not regarding your future financial goals or role within the home. Before you get married, you want to make sure that you fit, that there's a motivational fit. So we want to make sure this new candidate is aligned with our vision, mission, values, and culture. So we spend the entire time reviewing those written, cultural, and purpose-centered documents along with our org chart and case studies so they can get clarity and ask questions. So we just go down the list, and we're sharing vision, mission, values, case studies, org chart. We're talking about the BOP creed. We're a business that, and then you fill in the gap for that. Also, whoever's doing the hiring is, hey, here's what it means to me to be a business on purpose team member. We do talk about the general compensation structure, and then we send along those resources so they can take, and we've got a book for us, you may not for you, but they can take them home and actually share that with whoever they share the home with. So we do take a minute to explain the compensation structure. For instance, base plus commission, or 100% base, or 100% commission, or whatever. But we do not discuss the numbers yet, the specifics. Our desires, we want them to be on the team because of purpose first. Then we can get to some of the other elements of the agreement down the road. So those are some of the things there that we're looking at. And then step 4, that's when we move into step 4 to finding and hiring the right person for the right role, is the due diligence step. So we actually have each one of our potential team members take a DISC profile. It doesn't have to be DISC, but it's got to be some sort of personality profile. It's a step where we dive deep into the role. Not in the role yet. We want to see if the personality fits with the role. And we complete an appropriate homework assignment. That's right. We actually have them, for us, we have them do 2 homework assignments. This was the hiring process for a coach. So we wanted them to write down a list of 20 potential business owners that they know. And so it gives us insight. How fast did they get it done? Who are those business owners? What are the relationships we have before we bring them in? And then we follow up with 3 references from 3 different types of relationships with that person. Step 5, that's where we bring them back in for an extended time together of our second in-person interview. Again, virtual via Zoom if you need to do that, but this is the step where we dive deep into the role, where that role fits within our larger organization and how that role helps our business to take another steps towards liberating business owners from chaos so that they can make time for what matters most. We want them to understand that this role is here for this mission. It's not just here to get them a paycheck or to get us more money. Or more employees. We're aligning roles with mission. So this is the time that we actually roll out the specifics of the compensation. So you can see there, we go over role, we go over our master process roadmap, we go over performance expectations and benchmarks, and also the compensation specifics. That then leads us into step 6. Now you can see on here that says step 5. Well, each one of these, we don't call our pre-recruiting stage a step 1. For the sake of this that I'm doing right now, we've named it out. So you can write it out in however you like. But step 6, during our discussion right now, what you see as step 5, is a live meetup with the candidate and their spouse. Again, we want to spend time with them in a casual environment so we can have an unscripted discussion about life, business, and a variety of other things. It allows other members of their household to get to know us better and to hear our heart and for us to get to know them better. Step 7, what you see as step 6 here, is where we get into the formal offer. And it's really simple. We send a formal employee agreement of expectations within a formal offer email, and we put a time limit on the offer, and we expect a very prompt response. We've got all that there. That leads us to what you see as step 7 on the document, and step 7, I guess, actually in our thing here, step 8 is finding the right and hiring the right person for the right role is onboarding. We script out the schedule and the calendar of the first 4 weeks of our new team members. So if you go down here to the bottom of this spreadsheet, you can actually see week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then the final month out of once they get moving. So we hold that out. We also host weekly onboarding calls with our new team member for the first 90 days and ask them preset questions because we want them focused on learning and growing rather than constantly wondering what's next. So the hiring process is a decision-making process to helping your new team member find out if they really do want to run the marathon of the mission with you. The 90-day onboarding time is the stretch period before this, and the 90-day mark of their new role is when the marathon gun fires at the starting line. You owe it to yourself, to your team, your mission, your new team member, to take the time to do this right. So if you need help on this, feel free. Go join our Business on Purpose coaching roadmap experience. Very, very affordable for you to be able to do it. It's a great opportunity for you to be able to not only get training on this, but about 30 other elements of your business if you need that. And really important to know that that's available to you. All you have to do is go to freedom.mybusinessonpurpose.com and you'll see that there. And we would love to be able to be a part of helping you be liberated from your own chaos. Make sure to go subscribe to us on YouTube, My Business on Purpose there, and also on iTunes, the My Business on Purpose podcast. But whatever you do, make sure you spend the time, the effort, the energy, the money to find and hire the right person. Don't do a pulse check. Make it meaningful. Have a great day.